So there's a number of projects going on at the Porter Canyon Experimental Watershed. Porter Canyon Experimental Watershed is approximately 6,000 acres in size. It is both private land and public lands. Smith Creek Ranch is the private land component, and then Bureau of Land Management is the public land component. To begin the conversation, one of the things that we as a research community did is we began by instrumenting the watershed. What I mean by that is we wanted to look at the hydrology of a watershed. And to look at the hydrology of a watershed, we installed shallow groundwater wells. There's 24 of them in Porter Canyon to monitor groundwater movement throughout the meadow system and the watershed as a whole. We installed channel flumes. So the channels, the stream channels in Porter Canyon are not perennial, they're ephemeral. But we put in 4 channel flumes to monitor channel flow. We have installed sap flow sensors in a number of trees out there, over 40 trees, to monitor how much water the pinyon and juniper trees are drinking on a daily basis. We have installed a weather station that is run by NRCS, so it's a full snowtail station that sits in the Porter Canyon meadow. You have to have that kind of information, that kind of data structure or equipment structure, in order to ask the question, what is the impact of pinyon juniper encroachment on the vegetation component, on the hydrologic component, and on the habitat for wildlife, or the forage base for livestock component of an ecosystem such as Porter Canyon. And with the removal of fine fuels, the natural fire regime was interrupted, and the natural fire regime is what kept pinyon and juniper in its native habitat, which was the more rocky areas of these mountain ranges. So with the reduced frequency of fire, the pinyon and juniper trees could move off their native habitat and down into the sagebrush ecosystem. We know from Dr. Keir Snyder's work, who is an Agricultural Research Service ecophysiologist, that the trees out there are using anywhere between 10 liters and 60 liters of water per day. That's a lot of water. So if we remove those trees from the system, there will be replacement vegetation. And the replacement vegetation will be, a lot of it will be sagebrush. So if we want to know what the net hydrologic gain is for removing the trees, we need to know what the replacement vegetation, how much they will drink and how much they will capture in their canopy. So we have to also measure those items for sagebrush. So we will be doing that this next summer, so we can net out the gain from removing trees. Well, one of the big questions, and the reason that this project got started, was that Smith Creek Ranch Management asked us to come in and take a look, is that one of the big issues with removing pinyon juniper is the question that always gets asked is, will it increase forage production? And as we remove trees, we measure that attribute. And so we can definitively say one way or the other, depending on how you do this, what was there before you removed the tree. This is the response, and we can certainly compartmentalize out which piece of the vegetative component is forage and which one isn't, what's happening with that piece. Some of the springs have gone dry in Porter Canyon that used to flow water, and the belief of the ownership is that the reason it's gone dry is the pinyon juniper encroachment. We will find that out. So these hill slopes are very steep, so the only real option you have for removal is to cut them and to lop them. Part of the concern from BLM's perspective is to not have a lot of dry brown material on the ground that creates a high load of fuels for wildfire, But at the same time, they want to have understory vegetation. So where's the balance? So we will do a project that will help them answer that question, and that will be applicable to the entire state of Nevada and across the West.